good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here. This is a DPS workshop on how to do business with the City of Chicago. So this is a very broad overview, 20,000-foot view of everything that DPS does. So I would suggest if there's any particular topic that we cover today that you would like to know more about, I would suggest looking at our workshop schedule, seeing if there's a workshop focusing on that particular topic. Checking out the DPS website, which we'll cover at the end, because there is tons of information there. But this is a good kind of introduction to how to do business with the city through DPS. So first off, let's start with our mission statement. We are the contracting authority for the procurement of goods and services for the City of Chicago. We have 28 user departments. They identify a need, they tell us what it is, and we help them procure it at a competitive price through a procurement process that's open, fair, and timely. Integrity, public trust, and the law are our guiding principles. The laws governing the procurement process, the Illinois Municipal Purchasing Act for municipalities of 100,000 population or more governs our procurement practices, and also within the Municipal Code of Chicago, Chapter 292 gives the Department of Procurement Services the authority to be the contracting authority for the City of Chicago. Now first let's cover the types of procurement. Small orders, competitive bids, RFPs, RFQs, and job order contracts. Small orders you can think of as kind of a streamlined process for the for dollar amounts that are lower than $100,000. These do not require a formal advertised bid specification the same way that any procurement that's estimated at $100,000 or more require. Quotes can be solicited by telephone, fax, or written quotation posted on our website. Note that our certified MBE and WBE vendors are solicited first. And if there are no responsive bidders, then we go to the general pool of all firms. Next is our competitive bidding process. Now this is the process for most procurements with a contract value of $100,000 or more. These require an advertisement in a periodical of general circulation. We advertise in the Chicago Sun-Times, and we also publish all bid solicitations on our website. The copies of bid packages are available here in the bid and bond room, City Hall Room 103. The period to respond to a bid is usually between 10 and 30 calendar days, and at times a deposit can be required for certain types of bids. For example, construction bids that have many, many pages and plans, etc. So after the bid is advertised, we often hold a pre-bid meeting, but not always. It's optional. It's not, if you want to bid on a project, you are not required to attend, but we encourage you to attend because it is a good place to find subcontractors. If you're a subcontractor, it's a good place to meet prime contractors who may be bidding on the project. You also are able to hear live the questions and answers that are given during the pre-bid meeting. However, any questions and answers that are relevant to the bid solicitation will be advertised in an addendum or a clarification. So even if you weren't able to attend the pre-bid meeting, you would still get that information. So in completing your bid documents, we want to remind you of kind of the essential things that you must complete in order to submit a complete bid package. Fill in all the required information, okay? I know it seems obvious, but sometimes people don't. And I would note that if you ever have a question about what is required or what is not, or need clarification on what something means in the bid solicitation, the name of the procurement specialist or senior procurement specialist that is in charge of that solicitation at DPS, their name, email address, and phone number is printed on that first page. And so you are free to reach out to them at any time. If there is a question that is asked and answered, you will not be the only person who is privy to that information. It also will be advertised in an addendum or clarification. So again, fill in all required information. Certain bid documents need to be submitted and executed with the bid. So it's not just filling in the blanks, you may need to submit additional documents. Sign it, and it has to be notarized. With your bid, you may need to include a bid deposit. Usually, the bid deposit is 5% of the bid, and it's normally refundable. Non-refundable bid deposit may be required for some bid submittals that are over $100,000. If you do not submit your bid by 11 a.m. on the bid opening date, your bid will not be accepted. It will be rejected because you were late, even if it's 11:01 a.m. Okay, so be on time. To that end, bid openings are held Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. right here in the bid and bond room. Bids are opened and read aloud. They're tabulated. They are reviewed for accuracy and completeness by DPS and the user department. And tabulations can be viewed online on the website within 24 hours after the bid opening. Now, for competitive bids, the contract is awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Responsiveness means that you've filled in everything correctly, you've submitted all of the required bid documents. Responsibility means, can you be trusted to perform the work? Is there any reason for the city to doubt your ability to perform the job? After we determine the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, the user department will make a recommendation of award. The acceptable bid or bids are packaged. They're routed through a signature and approval process here at the city. Any required bonds, insurance, and funding agency concurrence for award. So for instance, if the contract is being funded by a grant or by federal funds, their concurrence is required as well. And then the contract is awarded. We send it to you for signature, and off you go, providing us with goods or services. Now, the next type of procurement that I want to talk about is the request for proposals, or an RFP. So these are for professional services, and this type of solicitation is the appropriate type for when price is not the only factor. So this is for, again, professional services. You wouldn't want to choose your doctor based on who it has the lowest price. So it's kind of a similar situation here. We want to know who has the best qualifications, who has the best proposal for what we are looking to procure in terms of services. Next, we have the request for qualifications. This is similar to RFPs. Now, this is for creating a pre-qualified vendor pool of companies who possess a high degree of technical expertise and knowledge in specific disciplines. So once that pool is determined based on the respondents to the RFQ solicitation and the evaluation committee's evaluation and ratings of these respondents, then a pool is created. Each vendor is awarded a master agreement, and for the future, the city will advertise task orders and tell, okay, vendor pool for this specific discipline, send us a proposal for this particular task order, and then one or more vendors will be awarded the task order. And that is for the duration of the master agreement term. For architecture and engineering RFQs, there's no cost proposal because the fee schedule is negotiated later as part of the master agreement. Okay, job order contracts. This is I would call it a subsection of construction. It is a fixed price, competitively bid, but indefinite quantity contract designed for each department's construction program and needs. So for instance, we are not going to bid every time that we need the light bulbs replaced at City Hall. We're not going to advertise a bid solicitation for that because that would be inefficient. So instead we have the job order contracting program. Now this is to accomplish small to medium-sized projects. Departments can use Jock when they have a small or medium construction job. General contractors are solicited to respond to a Jock specification which contains a unit price book with a description, unit of measure, and unit price for each task, and then they bid a factor on that book. The contract is then awarded to the general contractor, offering the most favorable adjustment factors against the price book. So, you know, you could say, if the price is $10, I bid a factor of 0.9. I'll do the job for 90 cents. I'm sorry, $9. I said $10, right? So $9. Now, DPS is a service department not only for our approximately 28 city user departments, but we also serve the vendor community through our certification program. Now, there are 5 types of certification that you can get. They are as a minority-owned business enterprise, a women-owned business enterprise, a business enterprise owned or operated by a person with disabilities, a disadvantaged business enterprise, and an airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise. Eligibility requirements differ based on the program. Now, the MBE, WBE, and BEPD certification programs are our city programs. The DBE and the ACDBE programs, those are programs run by the federal government, and we are authorized to certify DBE and ACDB firms by administering their regulations, and those DBE and ACDBE firms would then be eligible to participate on federally funded projects that have DBE goals. Basic eligibility requirements for MW, D, and ACDBE are that they must be at least 51% owned and controlled by a minority, woman, or other disadvantaged individual. Under the BEPD program, the business must be at least 51% owned and controlled by an individual with a disability. Yet another part of DPS's operations is to monitor contracts and contract compliance. I'm sorry, we actually partner with the user departments to monitor contracts and to ensure contract compliance. DPS doesn't do it all by itself. The user departments don't do it all by themselves. We are a partnership in terms of making sure that contractors uphold their end of their contract obligations. So some of the things that we do monitor are the utilization of MBEs, WBEs, and DBEs that have been listed on a prime contractor's compliance plan. We also monitor and ensure compliance with Chicago Residency Ordinance and Equal Employment Opportunity commitments on construction contracts. So Chicago Residency Ordinance, which is often referred to as CRO, for contracts that have an estimated value of $100,000 or more, 50% of the total work hours must be performed by actual residents of the city of Chicago. Another portion of that is 7.5% of the total work hours have to be performed by residents who live in the project area of that construction project. Equal Employment Opportunity, or EEO, this is actually a bid incentive that is offered to prime contractors who commit to utilizing a certain percentage of minority and or women apprentices, laborers, and journey workers on the project. And so there is a canvassing formula based on how much they have committed to utilize such minority and women laborers, journey workers, and apprentices. The maximum commitment was recently raised from 50% to 70% for minorities and from 10% to 15% for women. So as far as ways to achieve compliance with the MBE, WBE, or DBE goals, the prime can be an M or a W or a DBE. You could have a joint venture with a certified firm. And usually what happens, especially on larger contracts, is that the prime would subcontract a portion of the work to a certified firm. Or you can also purchase materials if you have MBE, WBE, or DBE suppliers. So how do we ensure that primes are complying with these various requirements or commitments that they've made as part of their contract? We require monthly subcontractor payment certification forms, weekly certified payrolls on construction contracts, and waivers of lien. So in our C2 system, which is our certification and compliance system, the prime contractor is supposed to tell us through the system, hey, we paid subcontractor A this amount on this date. The subcontractor then gets a notification, please confirm this, because we do have prompt payment requirements in our contracts. So in addition to our MBE, WBE program and the federal DBE program, we also have programs, we also have a small business initiative construction program. This is a race and gender neutral program, but it's aimed toward allowing small construction businesses gain more experience by allowing only small businesses to bid on construction projects with an estimated value of $3 million or less. So only small contractors are permitted to bid on these projects. So it levels the playing field, and it also gives them an opportunity to act as prime contractors instead of forever being subcontractors. We also have a diversity credit program. This is a program where a prime contractor can get MBE or WBE credit on their next city contract if they utilize certified MBE or WBE firms on projects outside of the city that don't have utilization requirements or goals. So we want to encourage prime contractors to utilize our certified firms even when they don't have to. And so that is the purpose of the diversity credit program. We also have a mentor protege program. This gives a prime contractor extra MBE, WBE utilization credit when they enter into a mentoring agreement with a certified subcontracting firm. So I'm a prime contractor. I am committed to mentoring one of my subs to enable them to become more self-sufficient. Now, I can get extra utilization credit for that contract, specifically 1/3% more, just by actively mentoring this sub, which we have found that many prime contractors do anyway. So that is actually a great program for allowing primes and subs to connect and where both sides benefit. We have many, many, many bid incentives. One of our most recent enhancements to our bid incentive program has been ones that benefit veteran-owned business enterprises. There is an up to 2% bid incentive if you utilize a veteran-owned subcontractor. There is a 5% bid incentive for joint ventures that consist of a veteran-owned business and a small business acting as a joint venture and bidding as a prime contractor. We also have a bid incentive for, and this is the purpose of our BEPD certification, business enterprises owned or operated by people with disabilities. We also have an incentive for utilizing city-based manufacturers in the performance of a contract. And we want to encourage businesses to base their operations here in the city. So there is a city-based business bid incentive of 2% as well. Again, apprentice utilization bid incentives, I touched on it earlier. It's the EEO. And another bid incentive for alternatively powered vehicles. If the majority of your fleet is green, we'll give you a bid incentive for that. As I mentioned before, we have tons of programs and incentives, rules and regulations. Everything is on the web, on the DPS website, cityofchicago.org/procurement or cityofchicago.org/DPS also works. In addition to this particular workshop, we have all of our workshops online on YouTube. You can get links through our website or you can go directly to YouTube. We have, again, we have our searchable MBE, WBE directory. Primes use this a lot to find subcontractors to fulfill the MBE, WBE goals. We also have the, as I stated before, the bid tabulations, all awarded contracts and modifications, information on payments and upcoming bids, and as well as our buying plan. I mean, literally everything that you see in paper here and more is online. This is what our vendor contract and payment search page looks like. This one is pretty self-explanatory. You can just, if you are looking for an awarded contract, you can search by any of these fields: vendor name, contract number, specification number, and you can even narrow your search based on date. So here is what you'll see once you search. You can just click on, the contract number, and you could also click on the vendor name to get more information about all contracts awarded to that vendor, etc. So when you do click on that contract, or when you click on details, the word details next to the contract number, you'll see everything. You'll see the actual contract, and then you'll see all the mods that you can also view online. If you're searching for payments, it's very similar. And bid tabs, again, looks very similar. So, we're also on social media, Facebook, Twitter. You'll just, that way you just get the information as it's issued by the department. Please sign up. Please sign up for that. Please sign up for DPS alerts. That's the best way to get immediate communications from the department. So, thank you. Any questions? Yes. So, so the question is, what is the small business revenue limit? Are you asking about for the small business initiative program for construction, or are you asking about the MBE WBE certification program?
Well, the federal government has a revenue limit of $14 million that you can make as a company considered a small business set aside by the federal government. What I've seen quoted on the Small Business Administration site is that you have to be at 6 million or under in terms of total revenues. So for us to understand how we qualify as a small business, because my firm is kind of sort of at that fringe, is it different for the city versus the state of Illinois?
It is different for the city versus the state of Illinois. It is also different within the city depending on which program you are talking about. Now, if you want to become certified as an MBE or a WBE business, if you are a non-construction firm, the size standard is based on gross receipts, and currently it's 37.7 million. If you
37?
want, yes, 37.7 million in gross receipts is the size standard for certification as an MBE or WBE in non-construction. If you want to become certified as an M or a W in construction, it is based on the area of specialty. We use what is referred to as the NAICS code, North American Industry Classification System. You can just do a search for NAICS, and then you can look up what areas of specialty you believe that you perform, and the size standard is different based on the area of specialty, but it's also based on either gross receipts or number of employees, depending on which area of specialty you are looking to be certified in. For the SBI construction program, the Small Business Initiative Construction Program, where the bidders are limited to small businesses, that size standard is based on the SBA size standard, and again, that is going to differ based on the area of specialty. Oh, it's.
We're trying to find, I went to the Small Business Administration. I didn't find out what that encompassed.
Well, the SBA is different from, the SBA has its own, that's a federal agency, so they have their own size standards. We rely on it for some of our programs, but for some of our other programs, we rely on different size standards, which are set by ordinance. They are online. If you look on the DPS website under, I believe, is it under what we do and then certification? You can either look under certification, or you can go directly to rules, regulations, and ordinances. And there's a subsection under rules, regulations, and ordinances called certification. And so any information about certification in terms of rules and regulations are there. Also, I can point you to Chapter 292 of the Municipal Code. The non-construction program for MBE and WBE in non-construction is at 292-420. starts there. And then for construction, it begins at 292, 610, I think. I'm talking about Municipal Code of Chicago section number 2-92-420 for the MBE WBE program for non-construction. And then our MBE WBE program for construction is located at Municipal Code of Chicago section number 2-92- I want to say 610, it could be 600, but I think it's 610. I understand that, but it is all online, and you know, feel free to, we have a certification hotline. If you call that number, someone will pick up the phone and answer your questions. If they can't personally answer your question, and these are folks in our certification unit, if they can't answer your question, they will find somebody who can.
Links on the website?
Yes. Yes. You can also call this number, and if you say, I just want to talk to someone in certification, they will transfer you.
But we are not a minority or one of the foreign partners. I'm just talking about business, that business, the city of Chicago, or the state of Illinois. What is the cost of everything? The government has 14 million. What is it so that we can qualify as functioning as a company that is a small business? We cannot get certified.
Okay, it depends on, so like I was saying before, it depends on which program you're looking to qualify as small for. Now are you a construction firm?
No.
Okay, so then you're not interested in SBI, you're not interested in M or W or D. So I think the only one off the top of my head where being a small business is a requirement is for the veteran-owned and small business JV bid incentive for 5%. 5% off the bid price. And so the size standard for that is the SBA size standard for your area of specialty. Oh, wait for the mic.
In terms of residency requirements, does the city ever attach residency requirements to contracts for bids? So, for example, a contract for automotive parts, I know you can't make a blanket statement, but there was a slide where you referenced the residency requirement that I think you mentioned typically would attach to a service contract. Is that correct?
No, the residency requirement is for construction projects.
Limited to construction?
Yes.
Okay. And you're looking at the labor function there.
Right. And so, but being city-based is helpful because you could get the 2% bid incentive, and that's not limited to construction. If you are sourcing the goods that you're providing pursuant to the contract from a city-based manufacturer, that is another bid incentive that you could take advantage of.
Okay, good, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So first you would probably look to our buying plan to see what the city is looking to purchase in the next 15 months to get a general idea of when to look out for it. You should also sign up for DPS alerts because whenever we are about to advertise a bid, that will show up on DPS alerts. Right, so what you also want to do is you want to become certified as an MBE or WBE firm because the small orders are sent, the small order solicitations are first sent to certified firms. It would be MBE or WBE, yeah. But if you are certified as a DBE firm, you should be eligible to become certified as an MBE or WBE firm.
Access to information.
Oh, I'm sorry?
You actually have access to the information. the
Right,
public-
so if you are certified, if you show up in our MBE or WBE directory as a firm that is certified in that area of specialty that is relevant to that particular solicitation, we will contact you directly.
Oh, yeah.
So encourage you to get certified. Yes, so for small orders, which are solicitations for goods or services for $100,000 or less, so it's the small equivalent of a competitive bid. But yes, we reach out to the MBE and WBE pool first and say, hey, send me a quote. It's a request for quotation, essentially. Send me a quote for 1,000 widgets. And if nobody responds, or if somebody responds but they turn out to be not responsive or not responsible, then we will go to the general pool. And normally the user department knows the names of the firms that can provide these goods or services, and so we rely on them as well. Right, so we have a buying plan that projects 15 months into the future, and it's actually what do we call it, a consolidated buying plan. So many of the sister agencies' needs are also included in this one document. So even if the city isn't planning on buying what you have to offer in the next 15 months, one of the sister agencies might. So parks, CPS, city colleges, CTA, CHA, buildings, PBC, yeah. Also, Cook County is also in there. Cook County is not a sister agency, but the Cook County forecast is included there. It's the buying plan is on our website, and it's also available here, I think. Oh, we ran out, but it's online.
Pool, and how do you get in that pool?
That, I don't have a specific answer for that question, because again, we do rely on the user department to know who can supply what they are looking for. This is part of how they find out whether the solicitation is even eligible for a small order, because they have to figure out, is this a contract that's going to be valued at less than $100,000? So we do rely on the user department to figure out who we should solicit from. But we do also advertise in the Sun-Times. As much as we can, as much as it's warranted, and as much as it's required, of course, we advertise in the Sun-Times every day, every bid. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.